Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 22. And today we're going to be using Franco Morbidelli on board his Monster Energy Yamaha right here in the circuit of the Kymiring. Now, I used to really dislike this track. Honestly, it was a chore to play. But recently, I did some online races with Sacred Meerkat during his live stream, and you know what? I think I've changed my mind. Meerkat inspired me. He gave me some pointers and said, you know, this is where the track is good, where, you know, sort of things. And honestly, I think he's right. I'm quite enjoying this track now. There's just a key moment where you say, you know, use the ride height device, maybe change gear here, and you actually kind of change your feeling about this track. And honestly, I don't think I'm up there yet with competitiveness in the regards of this circuit. But after this time trial, I will be honest with you, I do feel pretty good about this circuit, and it's completely changed my impression of this circuit. Now, I'm not going to tell you it's one of the best tracks ever made, or it's going to be right there on my top 10 list, but I have considered using this track a bit more often and actually not looking at the calendar in the career mode and thinking, God, not that track again. But honestly, I'm really surprised, and using Franco Morbidelli, the Yamaha that I love, a rider that I'm a massive fan of, it was a good combination to get me involved with this circuit. And I know, guys, some of you may struggle at certain circuits, and especially this one, because it is a very tough Grand Prix track. So my advice to you is, if you do have a bogey circuit which you just don't quite like, or you're really struggling with, take your favourite rider, take your favourite bike that you're pretty strong with, and just do some time trial. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing here today. I'm going to be trying to improve my lap time that I set with Meerkat a few days ago in his online racing live stream. Now, I can tell you it's roughly around the 141 mark, but I would like to improve that. I think it was a 142.6. I had, a 141.6 in his online live stream, and we're currently on a 142.6. So I think we can improve that, not a problem. Few braking areas are going to have to try and improve upon, and I'll try and give you some pointers as well from what helped me improve and where I felt I could be quite strong, and maybe some areas where I did get a little bit concerned about. Now, for the first time ever, I am going to constantly and consistently use the ride height device in one of the first couple of corners. I'll give you a pointer when you've probably already seen it. It is the long straight. That's where I use the ride height device coming out of turn 2, because it is vital to not get a wheelie. And even with the ride height device, I still get occasional wheelies as well. But coming into turn 11 now, and the change of direction for the left hand side, an invalidation there when a lap time that probably would have put us closer to the 141s. Not going to happen this time around, as we had a slight wheelie coming out of the 12th corner. But now bringing it into turn 13, nice and tight to the apex there, change of direction to the right hand side, and we are going to improve the lap time. But still, it is an invalidation, but it's not a problem. Not a problem at all. As long as we're improving the times, improving the lap times, and just improving our pace in general, I'm quite okay with that. So breaking into turn 1, very innocuous corner. You've got to go very early on the brakes, almost too early as a matter of fact. It does feel kind of like that, but as we go into the left hand side, we're going to gently start braking as the bike gets up into a 0 degrees lean angle. And then we turn into the right hand side for turn 4, ride height device enable, little bit of a wheelie, but we're still good. And that is probably the only consistent time I will use the ride height device. I didn't try it without, to be honest, but maybe I should have done. Maybe just give it a bit of an attempt. But going into turn 5, the incredibly difficult braking marker to the left hand side for 7, change of direction for turn 8, and then bring it into the middle of the circuit. Launch it over to the left hand side for turn 9, and now here, I noticed a lot of riders were going wide and then bringing it in tighter. My favoured line was the tighter apex for that particular corner, but they probably can pick up additional speed if I run it a little bit wider. But now into turn 10, opposite for here, tight apex doesn't work. You cut the corner too much and it just reduces all speed and lean angle, so it's probably not wise to do that. But exiting out of the big Cadwell section, as Sacred Meerkat dubbed it a few weeks ago, and I kind of get the same impression. It does feel like Mansfield going into some of the chicanes in the fantastic Cadwell Park, so I do get the impression there. But wide into turn 13, this is going to compromise our entry into 13 and into 14, but tight to the apex, cutting the apex for the right hand side there, beautifully done, and now firm on the brakes for the right hand side for 15. Bring on the power, line it up properly, get across the line, and we have improved, but still not quite the 142.1 we just had a moment ago. We're now into the right hand side for turn 1, a little bit wide there. Unfortunately, when we get the change of direction, we'll lose the time that we did gain upon the brakes. Now gentle into the braking zone for turn 4. To the right hand side, bring on the ride-out device nice and early, line the bike up, avoid the wheelie, excellent. And you may notice that we just drifted to the right ever so slightly there, and that's because when you're pushing to an angle, you will reduce the wheelie that you get going in some corners. You will notice it in some braking parts where some riders do that as well. We're now into turn 5, into the right hand side, holding on to the right hand side, and as you get to the rumble strip, or the conclusion of the rumble strip to the right hand side there, that's when you can then change over to the direction for turn 7, and then in beyond, turn 8, and then this change of the flip-flop section once again into turn 9. So a lot of corners, a lot of turning, that's why I went for the Yamaha. I would like to see how the Suzuki handles around here as well. It's a bike I used quite a lot in the online sessions a few days ago, and I really enjoyed it. Got took out into turn 1 in Mandalika, which was absolutely hilarious, by an Aprilia. Other than that, I would have had quite possibly a perfect weekend in that particular stream. But now going into turn 12 for the left-hand side, bringing on the power, change of direction nice and early to stay with the apex for then to 12, and now into 13, bring it in nice and tight. Could have gone a bit tighter there, but following the racing line as we launch it to the right-hand side for 14, bring on the brakes here, just nice and early so you can gradually bring in, trail braking into the final corner, bring on the acceleration, and across the line to 141.825. So we're 0.8 of a second within getting into the next increment of second, and as mentioned earlier, I do believe my time was a 141.6 in the online live stream, and I think Meerkat was hovering around a 141 low, very close to the 140s, and that personally for me is my objective today. Get into the 140s. That is the main goal, the main purpose I'm here. That's what we're going to be trying to do here today. So going into the MotoGP 22 banner, braking just before the shadow on the floor. This was a massive tip from Meerkat, which I'm certainly going to give credit to. That shadow on the floor from the above billboard, that is exactly where you need to be braking. If you can go a little bit earlier or later, that is depending on you. I am more of a gentle braker, so I need to be going a little bit earlier. But when I raced Meerkat online, I did notice he was braking much later than me, but more aggressive and more firmer. Not really my style. I'm more of the gentle, relaxed braker, so bear that in mind for you. See which style works best for you, and also see what lap time you can improve upon. Maybe it works actually going slower, that one, rather than going really late on the brakes and very hard. But now into the left-hand side for turn 12, a little bit deep, but we are still neck and neck with the go, so straight off it from the little pit stop I had, and now straight back on it. This is what we like to do, this is what we like to see. Into 13, going for that V-shaped line that time around, and it's, tell you what, that seems to have paid off, more like a Honda line rather than a Yamaha, but we go really tight to the apex, cutting the rumble strip ever so slightly, but it's still part of the track limits. But across the line, it's a 141.498. That is already my fastest lap time here in the Kymiring over the weekend, probably since I've had the game. So brilliant, really happy with that, really happy with a 141.498, and those extra tenths just mean we're getting closer to the 140. The next increment of second is what I'm asking for in this video today, so let's hope we can do it. And as mentioned, the billboard ahead of you, here's the braking marker. Go nice and early on the brakes, almost full brake. You can see the braking diagram in the bottom right corner of your screen on the graphic. Very gentle braking, 80%, 75%, up to 90%. It will always hover around there for me. A lot's on the rear brake though. The rear brake is crucial, and downshifting to first helps a massive ton. But to the left-hand side here, ladies and gentlemen, we could be doing this lap now as early as the 6th lap. We are 0.6 of a second quicker than the previous lap time, which was a 141.498. This is excellent. We are right on the limit here as we now go into the middle, into the big Cadwell Park, into the right-hand side. Very difficult corner to get right, but I think we nailed it this time around as we go into turn 12. Just touching the rumble strip, it does lose you a bit of time there, so try and avoid the rumble strip for that occasion, as we'll now go firm on the brakes bringing it in to the penultimate corner. We've gone way too wide into 13. That has cost us dearly. And now to the right-hand side, into turn 14, into turn 15. I guess technically 14 was the penultimate corner as we go into the tighter part of the track. Bring on the power. It might not just be enough now. We are going to improve, but it's not by a significant amount. Just under 0.2 of a second improvement, but it's not a problem. We're that much closer now to getting into that next increment a second. It's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. We've just got to stay with the ghost now and hopefully improve in the final sector. The final sector is the spot that is killing us right now. Pretty solid going into the middle sectors. I feel really confident around that part, but I'm losing a lot of time into the final sector. Now, quick update on the electronics I'm using. TCS2, Anti-Wheelie 2, Engine Brake 4 is pretty much what I predominantly use all the time. If it's some of the smaller bikes, such as the Moto 3, it's completely TCS on 0, or 1, I guess, because 1 is the lowest form on you can use in this game, and anti-wheelie is always turned off for the smaller bikes. And finally, we have the 800cc's, 990s and 900s, of course, from the 2009 game mode. I went for the TCS 1, Anti-Wheelie 2, and there's no engine brake for those, so it's just power setting 3 regarding. But yeah, electronics are very important. Find which ones work best for you. I find that any more traction control than 2, I cannot be competitive at all. Bikes just do not move. I don't feel confident, and I don't feel very, very good with the bike at all. I feel like it just isn't moving. Anti-wheelie 2 is the optimal for me. Any higher than that, and again, I feel like the bike is sluggish and it doesn't want to bring on acceleration. Just bear that in mind if you do have any issues regarding your own electronic settings. And oh, an engine brake, of course. I do find 4 work the best for me. We did have the glitch in a previous update where 4 didn't work at all, so it was basically turned off, and I had a very tough time. So a disappointing lap there on into lap 7, but I'm quite pleased to think that that's 4 laps now in a row where we've been within the 141s. Granted, they've deviated by a couple of tenths of a second, but I'm still happy with the result. Trying a wider apex now into turn 4, bringing on the ride height device prematurely and bringing on the power. Now we are going to reduce the gap down to about 4 tenths. It could get a little bit slower there, but I don't think we are going to improve much on this particular lap, so we're going to go really firm on the brakes, probably the firmest I've been going into turn 5, and we did claw back an extra tenth of a second there as we change direction for 7, change direction for turn 8, bring it into the middle of the circuit for turn 8, bring it into the left hand side for turn 9, nice and tight to the apex, keep it in, keep it in, keep it in. Not bad. I guess, as I say, you could try the wider apex there, but for me, did find that turn 9, the tighter apex, works best for me. Any more than that, I got a bit too much wheel spin on the left hand side, going further over to the right hand side of the circuit. But now into the very, very difficult turn 11, a little bit wider here instead of that tighter apex, and then closing the gap upon the brakes. We have closed in, but is it enough to make a valiant improvement? And this is going to be a very strong braking part here into 13, much better than the previous lap times, and I guess we will hold the advantage for now as we go into the right hand side, bring it in to the final corner, brake nice and early if you can, keep it in, keep it in, keep it in, bring on the power. Tell you what, we could be improving here, ladies and gentlemen. It is an improvement, but to what? A 141.153. So after improving there, I did unfortunately go straight on to turn 1 and make a bloody massive mistake, but I'm quite content with that improvement. It's all about now improving, and look how much we're improving compared to that previous lap time. Get it into the middle of the circuit, bring it in nice and tight, enable ride height device, avoid the wheelie at all cost, a small one, but we are now up by 5 tenths of a second. This is excellent. This is what we need, but bear in mind how strong we were in the final sector last time around. The ghost, the being behind, gave me a lot more motivation and determination to do things I wouldn't normally do in this circuit, and I gotta say, I think that's going to be a killer going into the final sector. We may be up by 4 tenths, we may be up by 5 tenths, but that final sector, I think I was absolutely perfect then. So it's going to be a tough ask to beat that what we just did, but up by 5 tenths on the 9th lap. This could be it, ladies and gentlemen. This could very well be it. A nice wide apex into turn 10. Bring it in to be nice and tight. Keep the bike in the middle of the circuit. Be very careful. Do not veer off onto the left-hand side too much. Bring it into the right. Keep it in. Keep it in. Go hard on the brakes. This could be it. Into turn 12, we have lost a bit of time. It's actually lost about 0.3 of a second. I did mention how good we were on that previous lap in the 4th split, but into 13, a little bit wide. Is the Ghost going to make an appearance? If the Ghost make an appearance, then I'm going to panic. Very tight to the apex there. Need to be early on the brakes here. Too late! Oh, we're going to desperately try and save it, but I think that's cost us. Oh, it has. It's cost us absolutely massively. Is it going to be enough, though? Oh, not quite. A 1:41.050 sits there mockingly for us because we are so close to the next second. Now, something I want to mention is that I have changed over to the soft front and medium rear. I was using just the soft option combinations, but this time I decided to chuck in the medium. Did a quick lap a moment ago on the medium rear, and it felt good. Just 0.3 of a second off, so this time now we're going to really give it everything we've got, and hopefully these are the laps to get us into the 140s. If we can do it, I'll be a very, very happy man, and then I will issue the challenge to you guys. But into the wider part of turn 5, now into turn 6, change of direction into turn 7, running across the rumble strip there as we went very aggressive on the bike as we now go to the left hand side, running on the rumble strip again for turn 9, keeping it in nice and tight, gently bring on the power. Did find that I can bring on a little bit more power with the medium rear without it stepping out ever so slightly, so that could be critical for the final part of the lap. Now into turn 10 for the right hand side, not really on it here, we're close, and I tell you what, we could improve, but that's a late entry into turn 11. It looked like we were gaining on the Ghost, but ultimately I think we lost a little bit of time there from trying to do something a little bit too different. But into 12 and into 13, bear in mind the final corner, I made that bit of mistake and I went too wide. What's the difference going to be as long as we're with the Ghost at this stage of the Grand Prix? Wanting too much into the final corner, at least the penultimate corner, went into the apex, but I think the drive from the Ghost is going to be too strong. Oh, it was very close. It was very close indeed, at 1:41.107, but that's our first proper lap with the medium rear, and we really messed it up into the penultimate corner. I wanted to take a little bit more time away from the corner there, but going too tight and across the rumble strip really messed it up for us. That was a big mistake. Into the rumble strip for turn 14 is not a wise idea, and unfortunately on this lap we've lost a significant amount of time already. I don't think there's going to be any heroics on this one, but bear in mind, if we have already lost the chance of improving the lap time, or at least it feels that way, we can try more daring approaches into some corners. When you're on a fast lap, you have that fear of losing the fast lap, and sometimes you make mistakes because you want to go too gentle, and maybe you want to conserve the lap time just in case you do make a mistake. This time around, there's no inhibitions. We don't need to worry, so let's try a different line. Let's try going a bit aggressive into one corner. Let's really push it into one corner. Let's see what happens. This time around, not really going to happen. But, nice entry going into turn 11 there, and we have closed in into turn 12. So perhaps we can then use that for the next lap, which hopefully will be the improvement. You see what I'm saying? It's all coming together. It could work out in our favour. Let's go into the right hand side here. Let's set this up as a practice hurdle. Nice and gentle. We did close in a bit as we now go a little bit wide and bring it in nice and tight to the apex, bring on the power, and after all of that we only lost 0.2 of a second, almost 0.3 of a second there. That's pretty important, and I tell you what, these are now the most important laps of the video. If we can't get it done by 15 laps, then I will probably have to move on. But into turn 4, for the 13th time of asking, bring it in nice and tight, ride height device enabled, bring on the power, avoid the wheelie at all costs, which we've done. Brilliant. Sector 1 complete, Sector 1 looking good, only down by 50,000th of a second. Firm on the brakes at the shadow of the billboard, braking in as firm as you like as we go into turn 5. Still right on the cusp, right on the precipice of improving, into turn 6, into turn 7, across the rumble strip, and braking firm and late for turn 8, and we're neck and neck with the Ghost. We were inside our transparent friend for a moment as we now go to the left hand side for turn 9 once again, bringing on the power, running it a little bit deep, getting more aggressive on the power as we now brake, nice and gentle, bit of a slide there with the rear tyre, but that helped to slow us down as we go into turn 10. This is neck and neck into turn 10, a little bit wide upon the exit there as well. Bring it in nice and tight, gentle now into turn 11. Bring on the power, bring on the brakes for nice and early for turn 12. This could be it, ladies and gentlemen. This could be it. Bring on the power, change the direction to right hand side. Bear in mind we have that benefit of not going wide into the final corner. This could be enough. This could be it. To the right hand side, careful on the rumble strip there. Probably better to avoid it entirely. Braking early. Is it enough? Into the right hand side for 15. Bring on the power. Bring it on. Is it going to be enough across the line? We've done it. We've absolutely done it. A 1:49.46. Finally, we've done it. So guys, big achievement for me. Doesn't really look that great on the leaderboards, if I'm truly honest with you. It's like a top 15, but still, I'm very pleased to have gotten a 140 in this track. And guys, big thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I issue the challenge now to you to beat my time of 1:49.46, and I'll see you in the next video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.